All right. Well, welcome everyone. I'm Christy Cohen. I am the CEO of the Restoration Industry Association, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the first of two Meet the Candidate sessions for the upcoming RIA Board of Directors election. This is a new forum that we've developed to give RIA members the opportunity to get to know our slate of candidates before casting their votes in the Board of Directors election. And there will be an opportunity for Q&A with our viewers today. So if you do have a question you want to pose to the candidates, simply type that into the chat box and we will make sure that your question gets answered. And today's session will be recorded and made available for on-demand viewing as well for those who can't join us today. Election voting will open next week, and all RIA member voting representatives will receive their ballots electronically via email. We strongly encourage all of our members to exercise their voice by participating in the election process. And we certainly have an excellent slate of candidates for this year's election. We're pleased to welcome the following candidates for today's session, which include Josh Hobbs, Operations Manager at Dalworth Restoration, Jeff Moore, President of American Technologies, Inc., and Andrew Zavodny, CEO of Kustom Restoration. Welcome, gentlemen. And now it is my pleasure to turn things over to Mark Springer, RIA President, who is going to facilitate today's session. Welcome, Mark.
Excellent, Christy. Thank you so much. We're very excited to be able, as Christy also kind of indicated earlier, we have such an incredible slate of candidates this year who are running for our board of directors. Now, the RIA Board of Directors is such an important group of volunteers who give so much of their time, so much of their passion to this industry to really advance and move the industry forward. RIA really through its strategic plan and its mission and its vision for what we will be as a trade association now and into the future is to be a voice for restoration contractors. And we're able to be a voice for restoration contractors through the really sum total of all of our members, not only in the United States and in North America, but around the world. And so your vote matters. We have, as Christy said, in this excellent slate of candidates, we've got 6 candidates for 5 open positions. So some of you in the past may have thought, my vote really doesn't matter. This slate, it's already been, folks have been tapped on the shoulder. They're going to be on the board whether I vote or not. Folks, that is not the case at all. Your vote matters. And we want these excellent candidates. Really, I feel we can't go wrong here in the candidates that we have. But we want to really get your pulse on who you think are the best candidates to represent you as we move forward. So we're going to be asking each of these candidates just to a couple of the questions. They're all going to be the same questions. We're going to give each of them an opportunity to talk a little bit about who they are, what their passion, where their passions lie here in the industry. And then, as Christy said, we'll have another group of 3 candidates tomorrow as well. So as Christy also said, we'd look forward to any questions you might have for the candidates. And with that all being said, we will move forward in alphabetical order. There is no, we're trying to be, again, as fair and even as we can in this process. So today we start with Josh Hobbs from Dalworth Restoration in Dalworth, Dallas-Fort Worth area. Josh, thank you for taking time here to help our members get to know you a little bit better. First question for you is, tell us a little bit more about your background in the restoration industry. Tell us a little bit about Dalworth. Tell us a little bit more about you, and then also the role that you currently hold in Dalworth Restoration, how that best suits you to be a member of RIA's Board of Directors.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. Yeah, so we're here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've been involved in restoration pretty much my whole life. It's a family-owned business. My uncle and my dad, my 2 uncles and my dad started back in 1976. So I have pretty much been in it since I was in diapers, I feel like. And so, you know, over the years, you know, kind of going back full time, I've been in it since 1997. right as I graduated high school in 1997, and so I went and did college for about a year. Didn't like it. And one of one of my best moments, a year into college was my dad looking at me going, "Son, I'm not going to pay for your college." And so I was like, "Yes." And I was able to sort of come into the restoration company full time and kind of get at working. And so since '97, I've pretty much played in every role in the company. I've led and went through all of the different, fields, from being a technician to being in the office to being I've been in every role. And so I've sort of I've seen it, firsthand from all the different, roles that we fill. And so now my role in, here at Dalworth is more of a sales manager. It's a family-owned business. So if you were to ask my brother what my role is, he'd say I'm chief instigation officer. And then, but I would also say he's probably chief vacation officer. So like, we have fun here. One of the things that we really pride ourselves in here at Dalworth, and we have through the years, is having fun. So we try to have as much fun as possible. But now my technical role, I guess, is chief revenue officer. So I've been in an operational manager role for some time, and really now my passion is sales, and I love going out and selling. And sort of my responsibility is really the revenue of the company, and so that's my role as it is today. So that pretty much hopefully answers both of those questions for you.
Excellent, Josh. Thank you for that. And as all these different roles that you've been in Dalworth and in the industry, I'm sure that you've seen some of the challenges that a lot of our members face right now at this particular moment in time in the industry. So in that, what do you consider to be the most important challenges that restoration companies face as you look forward maybe 3 to 5 years? Which do you consider to be the most important either trends or challenges that we face right now?
So yeah, it's a good question. So, consolidation is one of the challenges I see right now. There's a lot of consolidation happening, largely due to how fragmented we are as an industry relative to other industries. So I see a lot of consolidation. So there's something that's definitely has been taking a pretty big trend, over the, last several years, and even more so the last several, this year really. But one of the things that, one of the biggest things I see as a challenge is employing people, finding the right people, recruiting, onboarding. It seems like, like from my experience in this industry, I've put in a lot of hours just due to the nature of the business and what we do. And so the hard part, I just see it seems to me that early on, it was a lot easier to find folks that would, be willing to sacrifice and put in the hours that it just takes, in some cases due to the nature of our business. And I see that it's becoming more of a challenge. I don't, people aren't willing to put in the type of hours that it seems as though, I used to put in, or we used to. So it's becoming here. I'm just speaking kind of as it is at our business. It's just becoming more challenging to motivating folks to go out and kind of put in the time that it takes to take care of our customers in their time of need. And so that's really the biggest challenge that I see right now. And I don't really, I see it sort of being a long lasting challenge for us to sort of get it, our heads wrapped around and figure out how to make it as best as we can. I don't think there's a finish line, but it's just something that I see becoming more problematic, for us here, in DFW.
Excellent. What do you see RIA able to do to positively improve the restoration industry now and in the future? What can RIA do about this, and how do you see RIA's position in the industry?
Yeah, so the RIA, really is, we need the association to be able to get some brain power around these issues. I would imagine, especially with employing people, Like I had said before, that, this isn't something that it's unique to us. I would imagine it's unique to, or it's, the same for a lot of folks. And so it's just nice to be able to sort of come together and have these discussions and sort of figure this stuff out, because if we could figure these things out and it works for, a couple companies, if we could share that knowledge and it worked for all of us, it really just brings up our industry. And that's what we need to do, is we need to sort of, gone are the days, I think, of sort of looking at your competitors as, oh, we need to be hush hush and not share information, and we need to sort of adopt these. Let's get, we all need to come together, and there could be something that you guys, another company that's working, that we could share in that brain power to just own, to get better as an industry, to lift up our industry. It would, it benefits us all. And then also too, advocacy is a big thing. There's so many, it seems to me that there's a lot more hands in the cookie jar, so to speak, on a insurance claim. And so that being said, there just needs to be, a group or an association that's sort of keeping tabs on that and eyes on that, and advocating, for our services and what we do. And then also the uniqueness of our business is that, for the most part, we go out and have, perform services that someone else is paying for, i.e. the insurance companies. And so they're pretty technically savvy, and they certainly lobby, and they certainly advocate for their, constituents. And so, being that we're involved in these transactions with the insurance carriers and our customers, we need to have equal advocacy and lobbying, on our side. And so it's really important that we always, as an industry, have our finger on that pulse, because if we don't, we could become commoditized. I mean, there's just a lot of different things that can happen, that would be totally out of our control. If we didn't have the association sort of keeping an eye on all this. So
Excellent. Josh, thank you. Appreciate you taking time to answer these questions, help our members get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you, Mark.
Next, we're going to move to Jeff Moore from American Technologies, ATI. Jeff, thanks for being here today. I know you're a busy guy, so thank you for taking a few minutes to help our members get to know you a little bit better. I'm going to ask you to answer the same questions I just asked Josh. First of all, tell us about your background. Tell us a little bit about ATI and the current role that you have in your organization.
Well, thanks, Mark, and thanks everyone from RIA for inviting me to this wonderful platform. First of all, a little bit about ATI Restoration. My father started the business in 1989 in Southern California. We were a little small 3-person asbestos abatement company. Eventually got into the restoration business after 3 years of doing a bunch of asbestos work for restoration contractors. And so, my dad kind of learned what restoration and construction was, made a couple of key hires, and fast forward 3 decades later, we continue to do asbestos work, but at our core, we're a restoration and reconstruction company who still offers asbestos. Starting off as a really small company. I've got 2 younger brothers in the business, and the father's that's still in the business. So my dad's a second generation. We're a second generation family. My dad's only been in restoration, so he's had 3 jobs, all in the restoration industry. He started off as a carpet cleaner. This is very similar to Josh. I graduated the same year from high school that Josh did. I've had essentially every job in the business. So from a restoration technician to a supervisor, carpenter, project manager, estimator, ran an office. Eventually, I opened up, I want to say maybe 6 or 7 locations for ATI across the country. We currently have 24 offices. We've got, I think currently we're 12 to 1,300 employees. So we do 30 to 35,000 jobs a year, and we've got a pretty good mix of commercial. So we're 50% commercial, 50% residential. That makes us very unique. We do a lot of TPA business. What about me? My current role, I'm a president. My brother's also co-president. My day-to-day responsibility, I focus a lot on really future and where ATI is going, revenue generation, so sales, business development, marketing, and I spend a lot of time in technology and really trying to keep ATI cutting edge. I think technology, data, I mean, we're in a technology world. I think we're, as Josh mentioned, in consolidation and the tech world that we live in. I think we're in very infancy stages of the industry, and I think we've certainly rolled out a lot of technology, but I think there's a lot of technology that's yet to be rolled out, and a lot of data intelligence that can be implemented throughout this organization. So really trying to bring that to the organization to make us best in class in the business. And so, as far as background, I was a former RIA Board of Director member, many years ago. I've got my CR, I've got my WLS, I've got my CMP. I've also got 3 master designations with IICRC. So I've definitely moved around through RIA for many decades now. So happy to be on this call. So thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. In your role, kind of like Josh, which interestingly enough, not only you and Josh, but myself as well, all class of 97. That's crazy.
Small world.
It is, yeah, it's interesting stuff. So you've seen a lot of different places, and I'm sure you see a lot of the challenges that this industry faces. Which issues or challenges do you consider to be the most important that we face looking forward that kind of 3 to 5 year time period?
To me, I summarize it in really 4 overarching challenges that I think myself and I think the industry is struggling with today. I'll kind of highlight them, and then I'll go into a little bit into detail. I think similar to Josh, staffing and recruiting, I think, is first and foremost. Consolidation, I would put number 2. Third, I'd put just the cost of doing business. It's just more expensive to do the same job that we did last year. It's just more expensive to do this year. And then I'd say the fourth one, which I talked a little bit about earlier, is data, technology, systems, and really just trying to elevate the industry. And if I went back to the first one, staffing and recruiting, I think there's a lot to do with that. I think the industry that we're in, it's competitive, so we're competing with lots of industries. Whether it's general, in the field, we're competing with general construction, we're competing with fast food workers. So it's a very competitive industry. It's a lot of upfront costs and training. And so whether you're talking about the field personnel that's willing to come and leave for $1 a raise, or someone who you're competing that's going to take a job at an In-N-Out burger, really developing that career path, I think, is really important. But also recruiting the talent, someone that's willing to run an operation for you, or to recruit an estimator. Those people are business development people. It's just the labor market right now. It's impossible from really coast to coast. I mean, even where we're domiciled and we've been in business for 33 years, it's still hard to find people in our backyard where everyone in the county knows that we may be the biggest player in that market, and we still have a hard time filling positions where everyone knows we're the biggest player in town in one county in the U.S. You take us outside of that, it's even more impossible everywhere outside, because we're competing with so many different people. So whether it's bringing recruiting in-house, bringing in outside recruiters, I think that's been a huge challenge the last few years. I think that also ties into what we can afford to pay versus what we've historically paid. I think that ties into what you can charge an Xactimate. There is some sort of ceiling in terms of what we can still make money in business and pay a technician or a supervisor. And then I think Josh talked about consolidation. It's been rampant. I mean, the last 3 years, it's been going on for 10 years, but the last 3 years has been crazy. The last 12 months, ourselves included, we took in a partner. There's been a ton of consolidation this year, last year. I think that will continue. I think for the industry, I think there's a good and bad to that. I think, the good thing is, hopefully you'll have companies that are performing, bringing in better systems, offering better training. I think for, individual owners, I think it becomes more competitive and becomes harder to get some of the larger jobs that, in the past at, ATI, since we're headquartered in Orange County, we may not get all those big jobs that we got in the past. And it's going to be more difficult as companies consolidate, and especially as the end consumer is looking to have one service provider. We're less and less dependent these days on the insurance company besides TPA business to get those local referrals. So that big, massive job in your backyard, I think everyone that's listening and that's on this call right now, we miss out on massive jobs in some of our biggest operations, the companies that may not even have a location in the state, much less the city, because they've got a national account with someone and they're flying someone in from out of state. And it's like, how the heck did I miss out on a $3 million job in my backyard? And it's someone who doesn't even have a brick and mortar. And I think as there's more dots on the map, there's going to be more and more competition. So we're going to miss out on some of those one-off major losses that before maybe we would have gotten it from that adjuster buddy that one of us went golfing with, or that we've known for 10 years and had a great relationship with. And some of those decisions are being made elsewhere. I think the third one, just the cost of doing business. So whether it's just the cost of labor, I think TPA fees, they're not going away, exactware fees, the cost of, we do a lot of TPA business. I think most of the industry does for the most part. I think there's part of the industry that chooses not to play in that sandbox, and there's those that do. But I think, whether you're talking about TPA fees or you're talking about running a commercial claim with the JSL, there's everyone's looking to take money away or take scope off of a job, and it's costing us more money to do the jobs every single year. So, and the carriers are looking to, pull some of those line items away, or you're not allowed to do this that you were allowed to do last year, or you've got a third-party service provider, building consultant coming in, auditing your bill. You may even have 2 or 3 people that are auditing your bill. You may have a TPA and a carrier and a consultant, all have different perspectives, all knocking down your bill, all of which we thought we were going to get billed, get paid for what we originally submitted. So I just think we've got to figure out a way to curb that cost of just running our business, because it's not getting cheaper, it's getting more expensive. And I think the last one is data and technology. How can we, I think there's some amazing technology and some systems in our business, but how can we take that to the next step? There's so much data in the world today, and how can we get that to a whole new level? Whether it's, exact or data that you're getting on an estimate, or claim data that you're getting from an insured. But there's tons of information out there, and we need to have more of that on our fingertips so we can make better decisions. And I really see, for us to be effective as an industry, I've got 4 kids. We order pizza once a week. And I think that the future of technology in the industry is, handling a claim in restoration should be as simple as ordering a pizza on Domino's or Pizza Hut. You should be able to figure out, where's my technician, what time is he going to arrive, how far is the job along. And until we're there, we're really in an infancy stage, and we have to embrace that technology in order to move forward as an industry.
Excellent. Lots to digest there, Jeff. In about 1 minute or so, how do you think that RIA can positively improve the restoration ecosystem now and into the future?
I've really only got one thing, Mark. I've spent a lot of time with you and everyone at RIA. I think the most important part is a positive partnership with the biggest players in the industry. So whether it's Verisk, it's Contractor Connection, Alacrity, I think at the end of the day, RIA is out there to advocate for us in a positive sense. But I also think we need to have a great relationship with the partners that we work with every day. And I think you guys have done an amazing job with some of those partners, but I think we need to continue to build those relationships, because I think a lion's share of the contractors, we're in Xactimate every single day. A lot of us are getting assignments from Contractor Connection, and those are a lot of the partners and the players that can help alleviate some of the problems that we're having as an industry. And I think we need to have a much better relationship with all of those major players, and I think RIA is the best platform for it.
Awesome. Jeff, thank you for your time. Congratulations on all your and your family's success. And we'll move now to Andrew Zavodny. Andrew, you were either going to be first or last with a name like Andrew Zavodny. I went with the last name.
Right.
So you're last.
The last one in the lunch line and the fattest kid at school.
Well, you've done well for yourself. Thank you for joining us today, this afternoon. We've got the same 3 questions for you. Love to hear first about your background in the industry, a little bit more about Kustom and the role that you hold in Kustom.
Okay, so Kustom is a 53-year-old legacy business. I purchased it for my family in 2000 after spending 10 years in the field after college. Like Josh, like Jeff, I've worn all the hats and done all the less than desirable jobs, but it was a great indoctrination. Learned a lot. My experience beyond that, I've been responsible for the growing from one office in Akron, Ohio to over 20 offices throughout the United States and expanding. And lastly, institutionalizing our management and our processes to support the growth. Today, I'm the chairman and CEO, and really my focus is around people, talent acquisition and development, culture, and our vision, and setting it and executing it.
Very good. Andy, again, we have such a experienced and talented slate here. You also are well familiar in all those roles that you've had for so many years in your family's business as to some of the major obstacles and challenges that we face as an industry. Which ones do you think are the most pressing or the most important as you look forward to the next 3 to 5 years?
Right. So there's a lot of challenges every day. And I kind of look at this in terms of really 5 key areas. TPAs, which RIAs made great progress. Third-party consultants, position papers have been helpful. Talent acquisition and retention, I think this can be supported in part by RIA initiatives. Escalating building material prices, and then consolidation is a challenge near term, but I think longer term, it's going to be an opportunity.
Excellent. As you look at RIA and its role in the industry, how do you think that RIA can positively improve the restoration ecosystem in the short term and in the long term? Where should our role be?
Well, first, the work of the current RIA leadership has put RIA on a new and very positive trajectory. It is the reason that I'm here today. It's the reason that we are financially supporting RIA outside of memberships. But I think that through continued organization within the industry is going to drive the voice and the dollars to continue to negotiate and publish position papers. And really the most important thing is the continued evolution of AGA. I believe, like Jeff, that we've got to build alliances within the industry and get to an understanding. So when we get on the large losses, as Jeff mentioned, we're not walking through the dark in terms of how is the job going to settle out? Because I know in our leadership roles, there's always an unknown and there's a lot of ambiguity. So I think with RIA's continued evolution, really professionalizing the approach to our industry partners, we'll be able to achieve those results through hard work and collaboration.
Excellent. Thank you for helping us get to know you a little bit better, Andrew. Appreciate all 3 of our candidates' time and dedication to the industry. It's never a great prospect for most to get onto a call and talk about your achievements and your accomplishments without sounding boastful. So it's always a difficult effort for anyone, but I want to draw everyone's attention to just a couple of additional points about these candidates. Again, our board of directors drives the future of the association. And we do that through the quality and the caliber of the folks that we have on the board of directors. This year, we had over 16 applicants for our board of directors, which was narrowed down to the slate of 6. 3 of whom you've got to meet a little bit and get to know a little bit better today. There are 5 open seats. Of the 5 open seats that we have, some folks are running for a second term. RIA's bylaws provide that our board members can run for 2 consecutive 3-year terms. Of the 3 candidates we have today, Josh Hobbs is the one of the 3 candidates today who's running for a second term. Josh currently serves as the treasurer of our executive committee. Both Andrew and Jeff are running for a first term, and we appreciate you guys taking the time. The caliber of our candidates this year is just exceptional. I would like to also point out that RIA's efforts in advocacy has been so well received by our members, but it could not happen without the financial support of restoration companies across the country. There are some companies that have taken it upon themselves, believing what RIA is doing to be so important that they have contributed far above their dues as a member and have made significant financial investment in the future of AGA and its trajectory forward for the industry. All 3 of the candidates represented here running for the board have made significant investments in AGA. I want to make sure that any who are evaluating these candidates understand that these 3 candidates have made significant financial investments and time investments in the future of RIA and the AGA initiative we are well into. If you have questions for our candidates, Christy Cohen will be facilitating those questions. Lastly, I'm going to just make one more plug. It's really an excellent problem to have. We've never had this problem before, but we have the RIA convention for the first time ever completely sold out. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat. We have less space available than most years because of COVID and the requirements of the property that we're at, but never before have we at 4 weeks out from the convention been completely sold out. Good news is that we have been able to negotiate a little bit thanks to the vaccines that are available now and people becoming more comfortable with the current environment. We have been able to negotiate a bit more space, and there is a very limited amount of additional space available. Now, here's what's interesting, folks. In any year, usually we have 2 things happen. Most of our registrations happen in the last 2 weeks. We also have a lot of people arrive at our convention location and register on site. We have to be completely clear. We will not be able to support on-site registration in any way, shape, or form this year. So please do not show up on site and expect that we will be able to register folks. We simply will not be able to support that this year. We do, as I mentioned already, have a few additional spots. Space is very limited. If you intend to come to the convention and you've not yet registered, you need to register right away because the space is very limited. We're so excited, our 75th anniversary this year. Our agenda is robust, it's exciting. There's going to be some excellent sessions, and of course, everyone's just so ready to be together again, and we're excited about that. So if you haven't registered yet, please do that right away, because again, the space is very limited. Christy, I'm going to turn back to you for any other announcements we may have. Please join us again tomorrow as we have the next 3 candidates for those 5 spaces, and be on the lookout for those ballots, which will be arriving electronically. Your vote matters more than ever. Christy, thank you for getting this set up for us. Thank you for all the work that you do for RIA. I'm going to turn it back to you.
All right, thank you, Mark, and thank you, Josh, Jeff, and Andy for being with us today. It does not look like we have any questions from our attendees at this time. So we really do appreciate everyone's time today. We will make the recording of this session available so that folks can watch if they were not able to join us. And as Mark mentioned, we will be sending out email communication with the election ballot. So please stay tuned, watch your inbox for that coming out next week. And we certainly encourage everyone to please participate in the voting process as we have a bright future ahead for RIA, and we're very excited to have such wonderful candidates to present to you all. So thank you very, very much for being with us today. All right, take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. We'll be in touch.
All right, thanks, Christy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.